So I am very proud and honored today to introduce someone who needs no introduction from this community. Ladies and gentlemen, our Senator, Kaimay Yuen Terry.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for that succinct introduction. It was a little better. As you know, for a while I was your only senator, and then I became your senior senator. And about 6 months ago, I was at the swearing in for our new federal marshal, and the Chief Judge, Judge Davis, in front of about 500 people, gave me this beautiful introduction and ended by saying, "And now I give you Minnesota's senior citizen." True story. That happened. So thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I'm truly honored to join you this evening to celebrate Asian Pacific Heritage Month and to recognize this year's recipients of these very important honors. First of all, Mali Kouanchao for excellence in the arts, and Mao Heu Thao for the leadership. Kaimay Yuen Terry, who I know quite well, who's been helping me out. Where are you, Kaimay? You can't miss her. So very good. For leadership, and then finally Dixie Latu Riley, who we know is no longer with us, but for her lifetime achievement. And I met her sister and members of her family over there. I think it was her sister that said, "You're doing a great job, but bring us more jobs." Okay, very good. I also want to recognize tonight's keynote speaker, Dr. Franklin Oda. Thank you so much for being here. You know, it is truly fitting that May is Asian Heritage Month and also the month that Minnesota celebrates our own admittance into the Union. I've always believed that our state's strength and our diversity and vitality comes from our people, and our Asian Pacific community is an essential and vibrant part of life here in our states. I know that this year's theme is rooted in the community, and we celebrate the preservation of your rich culture with song, dance, and a very good guest speaker. We also celebrate the contributions of a group which continues to add so much to the richness of our Minnesota culture. I was just noticing as some of the economic news came out, and there are glimmers of hope, as you all know, in our economy, but Minnesota, which is 21st in population, was 9th in the country for Fortune 500 companies, and now we actually went up to 7th. You think about that, and the states above us are states like California, New York, which have huge populations. And the fact that we are doing so well in our state in some difficult economic times really has everything to do with the people in our state. And so much of it has to do with those that have come to our state from other countries and brought so much. I had the opportunity this last 2 years to take 2 visits, which brought me to some Asian Pacific countries, and it's something I will never forget. Just this last January, I was in India. I also visited Afghanistan, but I was in India for the first time and was just astounded at the vibrancy of that country. We actually got to meet with Prime Minister Singh, who had just returned from America. Remember his famous state visit? Do you remember the party crashers? They came, and so I asked him a very serious question about energy, but I also asked him if he enjoyed his visit, and I said, "It really got a lot of attention in our country." And he laughed. He said, "You mean with those 2 people?" I said, "Yes, yes." But that was an amazing visit, and we have so many strong relations with our state in India in terms of investment. I know that the ambassador is coming this next week to Minnesota, and of course Esser Steel out of India has some huge investments, and I went and met with them. I also, the year before, had the opportunity to go with Senator McCain and Senator Graham to Hong Kong and Vietnam and China and Japan, and that is also a visit that I will never forget. The visit to Hong Kong, where we met with the American Chamber there and saw those enormous business connections that we have, but then we went to lunch at this restaurant that had these enormous fish and brightly colored fish, which, you know, they claimed they got there and then put on our plates. And I was so good, you guys, like I ate everything. You would be so proud of me. And we then went to Vietnam, which was, of course, something to visit with John McCain, who, you know, had been held there for 5.5 years. but to see him return to that country again and again and again, where he's really quite a rock star because of the fact that he was willing to put things behind him and work for the relations between the two countries. What I most remember from that trip is we actually went to the prison where he was held, which is now a museum. And the guide showed us around in that museum, and she came to this flight suit that was in a glass case. And next to it was a picture of when he was shot down. And the suit was all, he was all, you know, broken legs and everything. But this suit in the glass case was perfectly pristine with his name embroidered, McCain. And the guide of the museum, and there's 200 reporters behind us, says to us, "Senator McCain, this is your flight suit." And he's very nice and says, "Oh, thank you." And then he whispers to me, "That is not my flight suit." So anyway, but it was just wonderful to be there. We went on to Halong Bay, which was beautiful, and went on a boat out there, and it really gave me a sense of the country. Then we went on to China, and I know there's people with Chinese descent here, and just saw the tremendous economic change going on in the country of China, and the rail, and all of the new things that are happening in the burgeoning economy. And obviously our trade relationship with China is incredibly important to our future. I had some hope yesterday that Chinese opened up their market for our pork again, something that we have been working very hard on. And then finally we went to Japan, and of course I remember a lot, but we happened to be there when it was cherry blossom time, and how beautiful that was. To see that, as well as to see all the little gardens around every single corner that you went. And I will have very fond memories, not only because I got to know my colleagues so well, but also of what was happening in those countries and the hope as we go ahead. As we look at our challenges between the Pacific states and countries and our own country, you know, I look first at our economies, and they are forever tied together, and we know that, and we know how important it is that our economies continue to coordinate our efforts to jumpstart the individual economies. I think we learned, as we saw in the last few weeks with Greece, and their burgeoning problems, that we are all tied together, that what happens in one country is going to happen, the rest is going to affect the rest of the world. And I think you know that we've made some difficult decisions with trying to stem our financial crisis, which I think we actually did a pretty good job of. Now that money's starting to all come back with interest to the government, we've stimulated the economy with some jobs programs, but now we have to work on some other things as a world. One is the burgeoning debt that you see all over this country and all over the economies of these other countries as well. The other is trade, to make sure that we have strong trade, but also fair trade between our countries. So those are some of the things I think are going to be key as we move forward.